Rolling and the sound is speeding. Check. Hi, welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew. This is This Week with Drew for Thursday, December 3rd. 2020 was scan. And on today's episode, we have a guest on for the very first time. And a freestyle intro. Cause you know that's how the podcast go on the intro. When you got the fucking freestyle flow. When you don't wanna stop till you get to the top. And your ass drop. And the booty stop. And the whoop, and the bagel stop. And the bagel stop, buddy. Fuck, man. Hello, hi, welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew. This is This Week with Drew for Thursday, December 3rd. Yo, I got the fucking chord on the piano back in. Is that coming in the thing? Yeah, I think it is. Fucking, Is that the song? Is that the song I want to play? I don't care. Hi, welcome to the show. So on today's episode, this is very exciting. The first episode of This Week with Drew in the third iteration. That's got an interview. When I first started this show in 2012, it was just an interview based. I was ripping off Marin. I really like WTF, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna rip off Marin. So I just ripped off Marin. And I did that for like 14 episodes. Some of you people might even have listened to that show. I'm guessing that maybe half the people that are listening to this right now listened to the 8-year ago version. And then it exploded. And then I always liken it to, in my mind, it's like The Watchmen. If you ever read the comic book or graphic novel The Watchmen by Alan Moore, or fucking watch the movie or whatever. Zack Snyder did like a pretty decent version. Whatever. It's up for debate whether that movie's good or not. But I think it was like, if you read the comic book, it's pretty much like a frame for frame remake with they just twisted the ending, which I honestly wasn't even that mad about. Like the ending in the original Watchmen is like completely different, but it still kind of makes sense to the plot. Anyways. Fucking Dr. Manhattan is this guy, John, and then he fucking gets himself, like, disintegrated in this thing, and then, like, so I disintegrated my podcast in 2012, and then there was, like, I brought it back, there was, like, a flash of it in, like, 2015 or 16, I did, like, 2 episodes, and it was, like, in the comic books when he, like, fucking... When, like, Dr. Manhattan's, like, skeleton, like, fucking... it, like, surfaces, like, it, like, magically appears in the fucking... In the recesses of this laboratory where he was disintegrated, and then it just goes away, and then it like materializes. Like I did it once more as like a Facebook video. Like one time I did a Facebook video in like 2000 and like I don't know, maybe like 17. I did like a This Week with Drew. That was like a 3-minute Facebook video. That was like a very crude like idea of what this podcast is. And then it was like when his body like materialized for just 1 second, and then it like went away. And then like 2 years later, this fucking thing came out fully fleshed. And it was like when he came back as like Dr. Manhattan. And I just had this fucking wow right on my head. Not to say that this podcast is like Dr. Manhattan level good. It's quite the opposite, actually. But fucking, anyways, on today's show, we got a fucking guest, man. I interviewed my good buddy and very funny comedian, Mark DeBonis. Mark DeBonis just released a new comedy sketch hybrid album called Minutiae. It's available through Comedy Records on all streaming platforms. So, yeah, I interviewed him. We're going to throw to that in just a little bit. So stick around, man. It's a Zoom. We did a Zoom call, but he's got a good mic and I got a good mic. So I think it should sound good. The audio and Zoom, when you record it, it gives you the video and the audio separate. So it's like, that's nice. I can like tune up the audio here in Audition and fucking, yeah. And okay, also, our sponsor, this is what I want to do before the interview, doorstepwellness.ca. Shout out doorstepwellness.ca. They've got a good promo going on right now, a sick promo for the Drew crew, for everybody, but they're giving away a bunch of fucking dope, a bunch of hash, and an iPad, bro. So you got to go to their website, and then it's just like with an order. So use the promo code Drew to get 10% off and a free 8th and a free gram, and then you'll get entered to win for an iPad and like literally like a fuck ton of dope and all this shit, man. So they're like, they're just launching right now, so they're trying to get more custies because they're legit, man. So like, if you smoke dope, you should go there. That's my ad read for the week. is fucking doorstepwellness.ca. Use the promo code Drew, get 10% off your order and a free eighth and a free grandma hash, and you could probably maybe win an iPad and a bunch of fucking free dope. So yeah, doorstepwellness.ca. Doorstepwellness.ca. No, I gotta come up with a fucking jingle for that. Doorstepwellness.ca. I don't know how to fucking. What would be a good jingle for them? Fucking. I'm good at coming up with like stupid jingles. Like, yo, if I ever get a chance to write a commercial for fucking. I want to write a commercial for buttermilk pancake mix. Because I've had this song in my head for like 5 years and it's just like buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix. And then when me and Danny lived together, sometimes in the morning we'd have buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix. And I just have an idea of this commercial where there's like a fucking dad and he's just like buttermilk pancake mix. And then he's like trying to get his kids like stoked and he's like and they're like, Dad, like you suck. And he's just going around a buttermilk pancake mix. And he's until finally like the mom gets hyped and then whatever. Then one kid's like, fuck it. And then the whole family gets hyped and they're like, buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix. And they're all just like dancing around the table doing like buttermilk pancake mix. And then there's like a knock on the door and it's the fucking mailman and he's just like, this family is fucked. But then it's just like, yo, and then it cuts to like what fucking the box with the buttermilk pancakes mix and the slogan is like some shit like, maybe the slogan is like they're all crazy and it's like buttermilk pancake mix is just like fucking start your day off fun or something. No, I can do better than that. Just fucking buttermilk pancake mix. It's a fucking earworm, trust me. Now that you guys hear this, that's gonna be stuck in your fucking head. Buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix, buttermilk pancake mix. Hey, pancake mix, you pancake mix. Okay, fucking A. We did the sponsorship. We did let's do a little bit of fucking let's go. Oh shit, I forgot how to play the piano. How was my week? My week is good, buddy. I got all my finals are coming in. My fucking last of the exams is coming in now, or the assignments. So I just got to do a couple ad reads. Literal ad reads. Yo, I'll do it for you right now, buddy. Let's get some practice in on you fucking guys. Let's do a little practice here for you guys. Okay, this is a mid-roll. So this is actually a podcast advertisement. So let's pretend like I got some more advertisements here. Starting a business is challenging even in the best of times. Dropbox celebrates the bold founders who launched new ventures in 2020 despite everything. With remote work the new reality, collaborative tools like Dropbox are becoming necessary for success. Dropbox Business is a virtual workplace that brings all your files and apps together for seamless collaboration. This helps teams of all sizes, from scrappy startups to global corporations, stay organized and connected wherever they may be. To learn more, go to dropbox.com/teamsatwork. And get 10% off using the code Drew at checkout. And they'll give you a little weed too. Here's another one. Arrogant, demanding, type A. You've been called it all. You're never going to be a follower. You're never going to be a follower. But you're the ideal person to be a pilot. Canada has more jobs for pilots than pilots for jobs. Because there just aren't enough people like you. The Canadian Flight Academy at Oshawa Airport has openings in pilot school available now. We're not going to tell you how to contact the Canadian Flight Academy. Because if you really are pilot material, you'll figure it out. All right, that's definitely a take two on that one. That's good. That was a cold read on that, though. So that's not bad for a cold read. Definitely not good. So that's my homework. And then I'm fucking done, man. My whole first semester. So in my brain, I'm 33% done this school because the last semester, like there's a couple courses, but there's also practicum. So for me, I'm like for me, it's like a three semesters and then get to fucking work. And then write a couple, those are work-related assignments. So I'm like, kind of like in my brain, I'm like, hey, I'm like a third of the way there, man. Like, let's fucking go. One more semester of this. I registered for my next semester classes. I got Monday off. And then, so I got him, and I got picked all the 8 a.m. classes too, because I'm a fucking old man. I love that. I was like, yes, they got all 8 a.m. classes for most of these. Like, I'm taking them because they're virtual, man. So I'm up anyways. Because I'm an old man, and old guys, they wake up. They just and in the words of my buddy Scott Belford, when I'm up, I'm up. Listen, buddy, when you're up, you're up. Scott Belford. If there's one thing I know about waking up, it's that when you're up, you're up. Scott Belford impersonations. This is probably funny for nobody but me or people. I don't know. Maybe you guys know Scott Belford. Go look him up and then you'll think that impression is funny. Okay. Thank you to our sponsor. Thank you to my piano for getting a new cable. And I didn't even fucking use it because I don't remember how. When you're walking down the street, you gotta watch out for the dogs who poop and pee. Sad piano man. Oh, is that not even recording? Oh, whatever. Fuck it. Okay. That was going to be this lead into the interview? Yeah, okay. Now we're going to fucking throw to the interview. So now stick around. This is me and Mark DeBonis talking about his new album, Minutiae, and lots of other stuff. I've never thrown an interview before. This is really whack. I got to treat it like a fucking, like I'm bringing him up on stage. Okay, and now we're gonna please enjoy my interview with Mark DeBonis.
Now and sounds good, so it's good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Well, awesome. Right on, man. I'm happy we finally got this lined up here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Well, no problem. You're the first person to ever be a guest on the podcast.
Good.
Which is cool, man, because you messaged me and I never really thought about doing guests or anything. I guess I should say I thought about it, but I think it's cool, man, because I've always been like a fan of yours since like I was an Alberta comic or whatever.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So where are you right now?
Los Angeles. Are we recording?
I'm recording it right now, yeah.
Oh, we're live. Okay.
It's cool. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm going to try. It's fine. Whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The 20 people that listen to my podcast are cool with a lot of fucking sketchiness.
They like to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm in Los Angeles now, so.
But were you here recently?
I was in Toronto in October, from October 5th to about November 11th, I think.
Oh yeah, just what were you doing? Were you working on the album?
No, it was actually like a whole bunch of stuff happened. Like I came back because I ended up I was in works with a TV show for Bell 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It kept getting pushed, and and then we finally came up with the date, and we were hoping that obviously the lockdown wasn't going to stop filming and not getting COVID from flying and all this stuff. So I went back and had to do a 2-week quarantine. And then, it was like everything kind of came at the same time. Like the album was coming out the next week. So I was like finalizing all that, or it was coming out the next month, but I was like finalizing everything. And then getting ready to film the TV show. We were filming it in Kitchener. And so it was just like a bunch of shit was happening.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So, so what happened with the TV show then? What's going on with that?
We filmed it. It's all now. It's done, and it's a pretty cool thing. It's called Next Stage Vaudeville and Variety Stories.
Okay.
So it's essentially like I am the host of it, and I talk with we talk about the history of vaudeville and how it evolved into so many different things we do and see today. But then also interviewing different variety performers. So we had like a strong man on. He was bending like horseshoes and nails, and there was an aerialist who was doing like these silks that were at like 80 feet high, like we were in the museum. Like it was pretty crazy. It was actually a really fun process. So they're now editing it, and it'll hopefully be out on Bell 5 in the new year, January, February, or at least something like a trailer.
That's awesome, man. So what was the impetus for this? Do you have an interest in vaudeville, or did they approach you, or did you approach them, or what started this project?
The guy who runs the Waterloo Comedy Fest, Phil, we've been friends for a long time, and I was back in Toronto a couple years ago, and I've always been like kind of fascinated with the whole variety performer side, like not as much vaudeville, because I just knew of it, but I wasn't like, staying up at night thinking of vaudeville. But it was like a thing where we were kind of having a coffee, and he was like saying that he wanted to work on pitching a show because he had this person who wanted him to pitch something, and he didn't really have any ideas. So I literally was just like, why don't we do like variety performers in variety stores? And he just liked it. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And then so we took that idea, went to the production company. They essentially like greenlit it because they already worked with Phil. They liked Phil. And then they wanted to do it. And then the idea evolved. It had to be like obviously COVID adapted because we couldn't have a live audience. And it was going to be too hard to be in variety stores. So it evolved to what it is, where I said, and it looks really cool. Like I was watching, on the monitor as they were filming, like it looks like a vaudeville thing where it's a big open stage. The act comes out.
Oh, you did it on a sound stage.
Well, we were in a hotel.
You guys did it on a...
Yeah, it looks like it's a stage because the way it's shot, it looks like it's on like in a theater, because there's like curtains behind it, and there's like a little smoke and lights, and it honest to God looks amazing. And I'm really happy with how it ended up coming out. And, the whole production was awesome. Like the director was really cool with me just kind of like riffing on stupid ideas, and he let me go off on some things. So if that's going to be funny, I don't know. Either way, the show's going to look awesome, I think. So I'm pumped for that.
So as you were hosting it, would you like do some like kind of chirps at the guys who were doing their vaudevillian acts, or were you doing like almost like crowd work sort of stuff with these guys?
It was like more like, and again, I don't know if this is going to make it to air like in the actual show because we did 2 takes, but for the performance side of it, it was just a straight performance. But then after, I was able to do an interview. And then so one of the things that I wanted to do was, because in my opinion, when you do a show that's like a talent style show where you're showing off talents, it's a fine line of looking like public access television or a good show. And I think the one thing that we were all really aware of is we didn't want it to look like public access television. So one of the things that the director was like really cool with me doing was I was like, hey man, it'd be funny if during an interview, one of the crew just starts kind of sweeping and cleaning the stage up behind me. And like, I kind of get mad at her for not being aware that I'm mid-interview. And he's like, yeah, let's try this. So we ended up doing like a different like gag or whatever for each guest. Like there was like them cleaning, moving a light around. And then so I think he was cool with that because we were kind of making fun of public access television in that sense, where it is such a
Right.
shit show. But then also on like the weird side of things, where I had this idea to have like an inner monologue with myself, because as a comic, before you perform, for me, I always am like talking to myself before I'm doing a show. Like, do I have everything ready? Is my door locked? Am I going to bomb? Is the show going to go well? So then he actually was cool with me having this whole segment at the beginning of the episode where I'm having a conversation with my brain, and my brain is played by this other guy, Mike Wood. And it's like, he's the brain, I'm the body. So I'm like insecure and he's like trying to pump me up. So it really was like this weird thing that ended up, becoming like a really fun project. So I'm curious to see how it turns out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that too. That's great, man. So it sounds like you've been keeping busy then.
Trying to, it's like, I guess the idea of keeping busy when you have nothing going on for the past 8 months is what goes up comes down harder. But now, being back in Los Angeles, it's like I'm just trying to find ways to essentially create my own projects right now, and trying to do like a podcast, trying to like write stuff, trying to get like a video thing going with Garrett Jameson, and just trying to like create some sort of structure and routine, because it's just like there's kind of like a lockdown happening now.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you posted something today on Facebook. Speaking of TV shows, you had another TV show in the works in Netflix.
yeah.
Which unfortunately didn't go through. Or tell me about your post today.
So what happened was Netflix Canada had a Canada-wide submission process, and you were able to pitch, I think, up to 2 shows of 4 or 5 different categories. So I pitched an original show and an unscripted show, and the unscripted kind of reality style show, game show, got through, and they were like, congratulations, you're moving on to the next round, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up having like a Skype call with one of the guys at Netflix, and everything was looking good. They wanted a moment by moment pitch deck, where essentially they wanted to know what's going to happen every moment of an episode, because being an unscripted show, it's the same format every episode. It's just different ingredients, right?
Right.
So we did a whole thing. It was about 40 pages, and we sent it in, and then a week or 2 went by. Like, he's like, okay, I'll look over this, I'll get back to you. And then he just replied being like very nice about it, but just like, we're showing it around to the team. We don't think that this is a Netflix. Like, it's not, the word that he used was bingeable. He doesn't think that it was a bingeable enough content, because it's a self-contained show. So it kind of sucks in the sense of, obviously it didn't happen. It was obviously good that we got that far. Like, I'm aware of that, but it did.
That's also sorry, I was just going to say it's an interesting insight into what they're looking for.
Exactly. And that was the big nugget of information. And also it really did just kind of make me switch the idea around a bit. And, if it were to get pitched around again, like, we obviously have all the information now that we need, but I have some changes that I wanted to make. We were under the impression that there was going to be more of a back and forth in the emails, not like a one and done thing, because that's how we were told in the interview, that it's going to be like, we're going to work this idea, we're going to hone it. But at the end of the day, nothing's guaranteed until, money's in the bank, and I think as a comedian, we are so used to just a letdown and failure that it's kind of sad. But, I prepare more for the worst.
It's almost cathartic, though. It's like, yeah, just tell me it's done. I fucking knew from the second I emailed you, this wasn't happening. Just lay it on me.
It was one of those things where I was like, wait, this is maybe like a little different, because there is the possibility of the back and forth and this and that. But it was like, I remember
it's a good way for you. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, I remember, like, talking with, I think it was Garrett and Jameson, and it all of a sudden dawned on me that we could just get rejected right here. And I was like, wait a second, like, why am I thinking that we're for sure moving forward, even though this is the wording that was used? Like, if it got to the actual top level, then I'm like, okay, like it's probably going to get denied or whatever, but that would be cool to get to that level. But it didn't even cross my mind that we were going to get rejected at that stage until I was like walking one day and it just hit me. And I was like, holy shit, why was I in this fantasy world for so long? Like, we could get rejected right here. And it ended up what happened. So.
Well, I mean, so I think as a comedian, just getting in those meetings is kind of it's like, I feel like those meetings, like you listen to guys who are more advanced in their careers than guys like me or you, right? And you hear them talk about how many X amount of type of meetings they have like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like open mics, you get that first one out of the way on the game show thing. And then when it comes time around, you're like, I know these guys, I know the process. I've kind of been through the ringer before, and I'm going to come with a different approach next time. Right.
That's exactly the staying positive mindset for sure, where it's like, you keep coming back harder. But on the other hand, all these, like the one thing that I was thinking is like all these old mentalities that we're used to in quote unquote show business or entertainment, I personally believe that they don't even exist anymore because of social media. Because now it's not about getting out there and like, honing an idea and pitching it. It's about just doing it yourself. So it's like, the idea of like pilot season, for example, doesn't exist with streaming platforms because they're filming all year round. And it's like, it's not about like, oh, I got to go down to Los Angeles for January or whenever pilot season is, March or whatever. I got to be there, because it's like, no, like, there's still stuff happening for sure at that time, but it's so different because there are no rules anymore and people don't have to experiment. Maybe if this idea was on, ABC in 1992, they would have been like, yeah, you know what? Let's take a chance. It's a crazy concept. Let's see what happens. And we'll put a bunch of money into it. It fails. They're like, well, we just lost a bunch of money. What's the next idea? Right. So you don't need to do that anymore as a network. Like, it is a weird thing where they kind of expect you to do most of the work and they're just giving you a platform now to be on. But a lot of people are saying no, because you have a podcast that has thousands of followers. You don't need to be anywhere because you're making the money. There's no middleman, like it's going right to you. So it is like a bit of a learning curve, especially if you're from that just get out there and grind mentality, because there is a grind, but it's like also like a digital grind that's completely different.
Right. Yeah. And it's across multiple platforms too, which each have their own native content. You know what I mean? What works on Instagram or TikTok might not necessarily translate on Facebook or Twitter. And you have to kind of tailor the content that you're making for each one of those. And you're expected to almost be an expert at every single one of those. And almost have this brand built up that when you get to that point, they're just investing in a surefire thing. Like you're coming with an army of fans, and they're just, like you said, they're giving you this platform to they're just dumping gas on the fire. They're not going to take that chance anymore, unless it's something stupid like Tunnel of Bees, like some crazy, something really stupid where it's just like, how many bees can this, can they run through it?
They're like, okay, we got to see what's happening here with, but it's like, it is fucked up, man. Cause that's the thing, right? That's the world we're in right now. And maybe, with the whole like COVID thing, it's going to get better. It's going to get worse. We don't know, but it's definitely getting more digital. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it also is getting more, the walls are stripped down now. I really don't see the Tonight Show coming back in that same way, like that sort of like glossy, that sheen, that super high level production. People don't, because, now it's broken down into this sort of thing. This is what we're doing now, is what you see on Sportsnet, they're just Zoom calling. Everything is just, let's broadcast a Zoom call now,
And that's the thing that really is, in my opinion, lowering the expected quality as a viewer, and that's what sucks, where, I'm not against Zoom comedy shows. Okay. I've never done one, but
I've never done one either. Yeah.
I'm not against it. Like I've said no to them, but it's like, if you do them, that's fine. My problem is how shitty it looks. Like, do I want to see your head while you're sitting there looking out into a wall, like trying to do like crowd work to 6 heads on the bottom of the screen?
Holding a microphone that isn't plugged into anything.
Yeah, like, you know.
You know.
But that being said, if there was like an actual proper production of like a 2-camera shoot where it's a full body shot and you literally have a two camera switchboard, one wide shot, one close up, then that to me is like, why aren't we doing that with Zoom shows? Why, like, to a high level?
Right.
But we don't have to, because like it's so instant now with everything that people don't care about quality, like in production value.
No, they really don't. I think I was saying this to my girlfriend the other night. I was like, there needs to be somebody that comes up with something that's like a camera with like good audio, and it's like all in one package, and it connects to the internet, and it can instantly connect to like a Zoom call. And she's like, it's like you mean like your fucking
you mean like a cell phone?
Like a cell phone. Like I just came up with the cell phone.
And imagine if you could even talk to people on it.
Yeah, wow, you know. But it's like in my head, I was thinking of some like self-contained fucking like, you know, to increase the, because you see on the news these people are talking into their 2011 MacBook Pros, and it's like, you know, like there should be at least like a standard, like what we talked about, like a standard quality of audio. You know,
we're getting like world-changing advice from someone whose computer is like 15 years old. You know, it's like, why are we supposed to listen to you when you're on a Skype call on your Acer computer
with the headphones that come with your iPhone with the microphone built into them? Right,
it's a little Madonna headset. It's like, what is happening here? But it is changing.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk about your album now, man, because I think Minutia, that's the name of the album. Minutia.
Minutia, yeah.
And it's on all streaming platforms by Comedy Records, who you've been with. You're like a day one guy with Comedy Records. You're like one of the like Justice League. There would be no Comedy Records without your participation. You're part of the original crew there.
I was there when they broke ground. Yes, I was there from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think honestly, so I've listened to the album like Minutia, I think should be the name of all of your comedy albums. Cause like you have this unique ability to zoom in on like very specific things that like every time I hear one of your jokes, it's like, holy fuck, like that is like, I did not like, I saw that, like everybody saw that, but you stopped and you looked at it and you're like, and you looked at it differently. Like, for example, I'm just going to do only one of these, but like my favorite joke of yours is that, not off this album, but just in terms of like watching you, was about breading bread. About how you can fucking bread. And it's just so funny because it's just saying the same word twice. But the fact that you looked at the bread as like a verb, like you looked at it how it's like two different ways to use it. Yeah. And Minutia. So like off this album, like Doorwood, the home security sketch, man, like you can really feel the contempt of your father in that 3 minutes, bro. You can feel the lifetime of antagonizing of your dad for not doing the right. You know what I'm talking about?
That door, the door was definitely like it's still like, it to this day is still a thing, you know, like when I go to my parents' house, like it's like the first thing, no matter what time, is like, is the door locked? Like, did you lock the doors? And it's something that's been like a lifelong problem. But no, it's funny.
The wood, you got to get the fucking wood in there.
Yeah. The wood.
It's the piece of wood.
And it's funny because like I didn't know if people knew about the wood. And I remember
the wood. Oh yeah.
It's like, actually, to be honest with you, a really like old thought that I had that I never knew how to like verbalize it properly to the audience. And I think like when my brain started evolving a bit in the comedy world and how to word things properly, it started making sense because I did it in Toronto when I was back there like last year. And it did really well at a couple shows. I was like, oh shit, like this might be a thing. Then I came back to LA. My friend had a show at the Improv. And I'm like, I was kind of tired. And it was like my friend running the show. And obviously it's the Improv, but it's like, I wanted to do well, but it was like a low stress show. And I was exhausted from flying. So I kind of just went off on the Doorwood thing. And it was like really like hitting hard with the audience. And I was like, wait a second, is this like, I actually stopped and I'm like, guys, like I'm from Canada. And I'm like, is this something that you know about? And they all start like laughing and clapping. I'm like, holy shit, like it's pretty cool that this Doorwood thing is so relatable.
Yeah, it's universal.
But I did not know that it was, to be honest. And the side note, I'm actually thinking about calling all my albums Onward Minutia, just with different color schemes on the album, the same clip art and the same idea. It's just going to be like kind of like the Carter, like Lil Wayne, like the Carter 2 and 3. So it's going to be like Minutia 2, maybe reversed colors with like a different fingerprint color. You know, like it's going to essentially be. That's what I wanted. That's I like, do like that as a brand.
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say, the new thing is like, well, not the new thing, but I'm a lot of what people have been doing in this past 8 months and the conversations I see, and just the stuff that pops up from your algorithmic feeds are like, you know, like what we've been talking about. Why would I like own your own brand, come up with a brand, find a couple defining thing. And like, that is, like I said at the top, bro, all your albums should be called Minutia. And it's like, because that is your style of comedy. Like that's your brand. And finding out what that sort of is, I think is the hardest thing. And then verbalizing and articulating that to the people. And then how do you package that message and send it out there is like the hard part. But man, getting the work done of defining it and stuff like that is huge, you know?
And that was the thing I was talking with someone the other day, actually, about how I feel like in the past, like I've been doing stand-up for almost 14 years, next October. So just over 13 years now. And in the 8th to 10th year of, you know, in my mind, I feel like after my 5th year, I was done with all industry in Canada. Like I didn't do anything after that. So that was like the mental growth, the mental warfare phase where I was fighting my own thoughts. I was getting through it. But when I got through that phase from like 5 to 8 or 10, I feel like I finally learned how to like speak English on stage, you know, because I had these thoughts in my head that just made no sense when they got to my mouth. And by that point, I was like knowing how to, even though I don't know how to construct this sentence, I was knowing how to put it together that it made sense for the most part to the audience. If they found it funny, that's a different thing, but they got it, you know, and that to me was the most important thing. And that's where like the word minutia, because it's been flying around my brain for a couple years. Because I'm like, like, I think I like this. Like, I just need to do it with the right thing, you know? Like, I don't even know how to spell it. Like, I'm, to this day, copy and pasting it from Google because I'm so scared I'm going to spell it wrong. And it's like, I just know that I like the word and it does what I need it to do.
Yeah.
I just can't spell it.
Well, that's great, man. So Comedy Records, Minutia is the album. It's a combination stand-up comedy sketch album, man. So I love that the bits interweave with the sketches. I'm not going to talk anymore about it because the people, I want them to listen to it. Yeah, man, thank you for being the first guest on This Week with Drew.
Thanks for having me as the first guest. I hope it was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, this was great, dude. I haven't talked to you. I feel like I haven't talked to you in like a long time, man. So
it's been a couple years, for sure. I don't know, because I remember we kept crossing paths, and you kept doing that Saskatoon thing, and I never really saw you there because I was like. Because we always were in and out of towns at different times, but I
know. I feel like we never we lived in Toronto for a couple of years, but the only time I saw you was like in some butt fight. It would be like some random town in Canada. It was like
Canada. In the middle. We were just somehow crossing past like a rest stop, and we're like,
yeah. You're like, what the fuck? Like, that's what a good thing about comedy though is you got buddies everywhere. Like there might be some guy in this town tonight. Who the fuck knows?
It is true, but yeah, man. Thanks for having me, and
no problem, dude. Congratulations on the album, man.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun and insightful and informative. Hey, there you go. So that was my interview with Mark DeBonis. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. Check it out, man. Let's run the music. Bow with the fucking blue-de-doo-doo. So stay tuned. Monday podcast coming up because I got a fuck ton of time soon.